All right, welcome back to another War of Rights map briefing. It is time for the greatest map in War of Rights. I say that with zero sarcasm. We're talking about Colquitt's defense here on South Mountain. This is a Union attacking map. I would say that this is certainly a CSA advantaged artillery map. It to me, Colquitt's defense has it all. It's got open ground, it's got forested fighting, it has changes in elevation, it has a fair amount of artillery. The tickets are okay enough that both sides have a realistic chance. I mean, in pub play, in organized play, just many of the best War of Rights battles I've had is in Colquitt's defense. I think it's a really well done map. But let's praise it no more. Let's talk about what it is. So we are hanging out in and around Union Spawn on Colquitt's. The point of contention we can see, this is a big map. I know Hooker's Push is a big map. I know there are other big maps. Dunker Church is a quite a large map. Colquitt's it's a journey, and its point of contention is out here. Yeah, so that is fun. As with a lot of these, there's a kind of left side, a right side, and yeah, something of a center push, and the center push is kind of more up that road. But we'll take each of these in turn. I'll start with what I think is probably going to be the most profitable one for the Union. In typical South Mountain fashion, there are huge boulders everywhere, but frequently the Union right out of spawn will get up and over that fence. And I would say that set of boulders, we are flirting here with the boundary. Yeah, there we are. But that set of boulders is a rough guide as a midway point. You get a little bit of cover and concealment in there, and then you are jetting it. Remember, it kind of works at an angle, and so you're jetting it to this snake fence. You gotta stay in mounts, and then they're pushing into this tree line. So we know that those rocks are not garrisonable by the CSA, but those ones are. And then the Union will frequently look to use the map edge boundary. And there's a set of rocks right in and around here, where if the Union can make it in here with its flags, if it's taking casualties on the way in, it's going to look to get healthy in here or dare the CSA to knock them out. So if they get those rocks, we're near a number of corners of the map, and so the CSA would really have to press up against that. So and that kind of allows the Union to know where to point those guns and shoot them down as they come in and try to win the tickets trade. So anyways, once the Union is in here, if they get embedded in here, what they begin doing is kind of rock hopping, and we'll just use rock hopping as a shorthand for pushing from area of cover and concealment to area of cover and concealment. This monstrous set of rocks is pretty close to the boundary, but it goes over further than you would think. And so yeah, you can run around these if you want to melee somebody. Of course, CSA and others can come up top here, but this is just a particularly large rock outcropping. The boundaries here always, as much as I've studied this map and enjoyed it, they always kind of play games, but you can get a sense as to just how easy it might be to defend, but also as the attackers to slowly push up, and each one of these positions you take, you get a chance to get healthy and hold against CSA counterattacks that can be quite costly for them. But because of the way the map is designed, eventually you run out of room and the map boundary is going to pinch you. You can't come back here. You can't, well, these buildings up here, so this is CSA spawn. And these buildings I actually think are habitable for the CSA, but the Union can't get close enough to them for them to ever matter, which I kind of think is a shame. But I understand with spawn being so close, why you wouldn't want Union to be able to melee there. But anyways, the Union will get pinched out along the map edge, and eventually what they got to do, yeah, this looks pretty close to it. Kind of where these roads intersect, I think, is about where the Union starts to time out, and so they have to hug close here, and then the Union will work its way into the road. Again, you can see CSA spawn, or at least see the flag that marks CSA spawn is there, and if they're coming from main, they can come down that road. The Union can hang back in concealment and now some cover of their own and shoot them, or they can start working their way up towards the CSA artillery. CSA artillery, I mentioned before, it's numerous. It's in a very good natural or starting position. rock clumps in this field are important. This is one that I can tell you as a Union gunner on this map, sometimes the CSA likes to hang out in, and so that means the Union has to make the charge from here to there to knock them out. It's not too bad if you do. If you get them to pull out, they ain't got too much cover and concealment to cover them. You might be able to shoot them down. Other times that rock outcropping is held, and Union guns have easy eyes on both those should they want it. From here, the Union can work its way over these half stone walls into this road. Right? So this is the kind of higher road. The lower road, not to be confused with the lower road, which is the kind of cap road, is down there. We have worked our way really far around on the left. And then what the Union frequently does is uses the hill, that rock outcropping, and that one in particular, because we're now very close to the other map edge. That tree right there is kind of my guide for where I'm about to start to go out of bounds when I'm doing CSA-RD, but also if we end up attacking up here as the Union. And then the Union can come up. You get one last set of rocks right on the CSA-RD's doorstep, and then you can push in here, and if they're out of line, they're in skirmishing. That's just going to be a ticket dump for the CSA defenders who don't have that many tickets. And frequently, if the Union occupies these guns, because you can understand why they don't want... I think it's actually... Is it only 4 guns? I thought it was 5. Nope, I'm just bad at math or counting. It's not even math. Yeah, there are 5 guns there. 3 smoothbore and 2 rifled ones here. And the CSA gets parrots here. Anyways, frequently the CSA, when they find out that the battery's been overrun, they'll run up to this snake fence. The Union can actually come up and contest it. And sometimes as the CSA, I'm finding myself hiding down in these rocks, or even further down if we're trying to retake the battery. But battery's not cap, but if the Union does want to cover its advance, and it can get up here and hold this in with some numbers that are difficult to push out, they can take CSA-RD offline, and that can be a respite for the Union infantry who might be tired of getting hammered by that artillery. All right, so that was the left side up and around push. That cornfield you see back there, that's where we started that venture, and we basically just worked our way around here, around there, and then all the way up into CSA artillery up on this hill. There's quite a bit of elevation on this map. Now, the right side push, it's a way to get, it's sometimes a faster way to get to CSA-RD. I think because there's it's something like a consensus on both sides that the Union wants to push those woods. That means the CSA wants to deny those woods, and there's a lot of action over there. The Union can go right, can go up and over through the corn, can use those as concealment. They can go a little ways into the woods for a while. That might conceal some of that movement, but somebody with binoculars is going to be able to see them. But if you want to find the edge, there it is. We were very close to the edge. And they can work their way up to this White House here. And what's nice about being the White House, yeah, you can inhabit it, but you also have a place to get healthy. And it's usually safe from CSA-RD and a lot of CSA infantry as well. Although if the CSA do want to come in for a melee, they can certainly threaten that and make it bloody. Sometimes the Union will push up into this fence, and here they're trying to hold on the right side. And then it's a matter of rock hopping. If you can hop from there to here, you'll do that, and then you can see it's a straight shot to those boulders and that lone tree that tells you the edge of the map and that you are now close to CSA artillery. The center push was kind of not that different than the right push, except you might follow the road up and come up to point here. If you can avoid running through that field, you would do that. Frequently the CSA will get back here, and either in this set of rocks or in others, right? They have that little island of rocks right behind Cap Road, or this corner right here where the 2 half stone walls meet. That you can cap, by the way, from parts of this half stone wall, so you should be cognizant of that. You can also cap from parts of this. It's so weird the way this, unless they've changed cap, but I know that we've frequently tried to hold up here, and sometimes it says that we're capturing. So anyways, the way to be certain is to press T and see if it says capturing or defending, and then you are. But yeah, cap here is a bit of an odd one. Anyways, I was saying frequently in the CSA, sometimes we'll get in skirmish formation there, or other times up higher on the high road. And behind those half stone walls, they actually afford you a good deal of cover from small arms fires. From artillery, it's not as much cover, but the Union has, and I didn't do the Union, we bypassed the Union RD here. It's a 2-gun battery. to start, CSA, or sorry, the Union can play Grand Theft Artillery unless the Union get absolutely hog wild. The CSA cannot come up here without timing out. But if the Union infantry can capture the CSA arty, then the theoretically the Union could capture those guns. But what are they going to do with them once they're there if they don't have friendly infantry to protect them? So, anyways, it's a big old wide open map. It's a lot of forward and backward. It can also be a lot of side to side. That's what I like about it. So because of its size and because the tickets, it really does depend. I think because of the woods and because it is large, and sometimes defenders assume that they can just defend from almost anywhere, the defenders tend to take a lot, and defenders tend to take a lot of out of lines and skirmishing deaths more than they have to, and so I think they frequently find themselves down. They do have the option to full-on pull back where the Union can't get them and force the Union to cap early. But this is also one of the maps where the Union should contemplate capping early to force the CSA to come out and fight, while the initial Union artillery position is not great. And if the CSA gunners know it and they have their ranges or a good officer to get them where they need to be, 2 guns up there should be able to neutralize 2 guns up here. You could kick in a third, and that would still leave 2 guns free for the CSA to shoot the Union infantry that are around. So one thing that you might want to do if you're eating a lot of counter battery fire is invest some time in the early game and moving those guns either to the backside of these rocks where they will have cover and concealment from a lot. You can also, this is a bit more involved, you have to maneuver around a bunch of rocks there, but you can maneuver them back here. CSA infantry can't run up and melee you here, and you have excellent shots down into the point. And so this is kind of a late game gambit. It might take you 15, 20 minutes, depending on the number of people you have, to get one or both guns up here as well as their caissons. But if you cap early and the tickets are relatively even, then the black timer's not counting down while that happens, and those guns are ready to do their business when the time comes. When the CSA has to push point, either to defend it or to retake it from an early cap, this set of rocks, or these twin set of rocks here, are frequently a building up point that they'll use for all the reasons, right? It's hard cover, so it's good cover against small arms fire. It's pretty close to where they want to be. Yet, Union already, no matter where it is, as long as it's online, it is pretty easy to hit these rocks, and so the CSA ought to be cognizant of that, and you don't want to hang out too long, just like the Union doesn't want to hang out too long in any one position. If you get on this half stone wall as the Union or the fence, and the CSA have manhandled their guns into place where they have lines of sight on those things, they can absolutely wreak havoc on the Union's tickets, who, as the attacker, they're only going to go down. My last point, because I could go on and on about this map, but the last point I'll make is that it's pub play. So there is a danger, because it's a sizable battery, right, 5 guns, because it's in a big position, or it's in a pretty good position to get early shots, and because there's always the possibility of maybe, fighting it out with the Union. I don't know, for whatever reason, that seems to attract a lot of folks to CSA already on this map. I think that's a mistake. If you have too much of your manpower in artillery, then you don't have the numbers in the line to try to win those melees in the wood, or to try to win those melees elsewhere, or to win the shootouts, preferably, right, as the defenders. And so there is a danger of too much artillery. The promise of artillery is the bare minimum number of people needed to make an acceptable number of guns function throughout the entire map. And the CSA certainly has the number of guns to do it, and they have the default starting position. But it is a trap, I think, frequently on this and on other maps, particularly the defender arty advantage maps, where too many people go there, and then the defense can't win the shootouts, they can't win the melees, and they can't figure out why they're losing. So that is it. That is all I will allow myself to say about Colquitt's defense. Fantastic map, and if you had no idea how to approach it before, hopefully this helps you a little bit.